Welcome everybody for Scorpio and the Excretory System. We're going to start with Barbara and the deep energies of Scorpio.
Thank you, Fifi. Welcome, everybody. And after these few weeks, months of waiting for the Scorpio, there's been like a challenge. Like a Scorpio is a very intense energy. It makes us wait and get anxious and get ready for go deep. I will share the PDF. So Scorpio excretory system, as Matias de Stefano gave us the tool a few years ago. Again, we have been working with this for the last few months. We cover already mostly eight houses or 8 signs. Today we're going to do the Scorpio, and it's a water element, and it's the excretory system, and it's the expression. And I'm going to go little by little, going deep. So this is the beginning of the chart. This is the personal, and this is the social or outgoing. So house number 1, 2, 3, we are here. House number 8. So we cover all the unconscious and how the baby that comes from the 12th house, the other side of the veil, if you have been following all the other classes about the 12th system, how I explain, because I know people that are here for the first time. So coming from the 12th house, the other side of the veil, and getting to the body and going little by little, getting more conscious until we go back to the end of the soul's journey, not fully conscious, but this is what we take the memories or the cellular memories or all the experience that they get into our waters. That's what is so important, because we get all the cellular memories in the water of Pisces, cellular memories of the family tree on the other water, and then the Scorpio water, that is the one that processes all the waters and all the memories and all the things that we are here experiencing. That's what is so important, the 8th house of the Scorpio zone or space in your chart. I'm going to go deeper. So it is on the social part of the chart, meaning we already got a lot of conscious and we are ready to transform everything that we have learned. These are the questions that Matias, when he explained the 12 system, we're going to go on the chart. The constellation is Scorpio. Where do you have in your chart a Scorpio? Then what's going on in that area? Which house and what elements? If you have a Scorpio, like in the 12th house, like Palm, is water with water. So what's going on? You have a planet there. You have Jupiter. So what Jupiter is doing there? So that's what the astrology part of the 12th system is going to need for you to work with the tool. Then you have the biology that Fifi is going to explain. And then you have the person that is going to anchor and bring you that as a mirror. What is the person that triggers all this energy? We don't have to forget that we explained these 2 parts, but at the end, the person that brings that mirror energy of the Scorpio or the Taurus or any other house is the person that we choose. And that person, we need to connect when we do the meditations with the 12 system. What is the person bringing us? We are reacting, we are loving, we are seeing. What is that person moving in us? And this is the chart that Fifi created in the beginning for you, if you want to work with this part of the astrology tool. If you don't want the circle, the wheels that Matias put, you can do it like this. The first, the house, which house you have a Scorpio. Then again, if you have planets there, then where is the ruler? We're going to talk a little bit in a few minutes. Where is Pluto? And we have the energy of a Scorpio or any constellation in three places. I'm going to repeat this in every class. Is the ruler planet, in this case is Pluto. So you pay attention where your Pluto is, you pay attention where your Scorpio is, and then you pay attention on your 8th house. This is a little bit deeper reading of the 12 system. Matias, the basic is find which house you have a Scorpio. If you want to go deeper, find what your ruler planet is doing. If you want to go deeper, do you have planets in that house, and what is going on in the 8th house? So you have few layers of working with the 12 system. And if you want to go deeper, that's the idea. You bring the biology, what's going on in your excretory system. That if you have something going on with Pluto, or if you have something going on in your 8th house, and if you have something going on in the area that a Scorpio is, you're gonna be affected. Something might show up, and it's not always, but something might show up in your body, or like we were talking in the beginning, in the waters, because this case Scorpio is the water of the house, the water in your car, the rain, or someone was explaining like the muddy or flood or something outside that is not, we don't have a control. So the element is going to show up in our body or surrounded. We are, what is outside is inside. So it might show up everywhere. Okay, this is a presentation of the Scorpio energy, the formal presentation. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and in the older astrology is ruled by Mars. It was ruled by Mars. Mars, or let's say Pluto, is the higher octave of Mars. So it's the same energy or similar energy, but in a more intense and higher level. The same like Venus, the higher octave of Venus is Neptune, and Mercury, the higher octave of Mercury is Uranus. They have similar energy, but it's a little higher level, and a little bit more conscious and more. They are outer planets, so it's a slow moving energy. All the higher octaves, Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus, so it moves more in a collective level than the Mars, Venus, and Mars, Venus, and what is the one? And Mercury, they are more personal. So this is ruled by Mars and Pluto. Is the 8th house, again, whatever is going on in your 8th house is gonna show up as a Scorpio energy, even if you have Taurus in the 8th house, or if you have a Gemini in the 8th house. It has that energy because it's her own placement. The element of the Scorpio is the water that we were talking, and I will go deeper into the water elements, the three waters, so you see the relationship between these two places that we have our waters. It's a fixed element, meaning it's like not stubborn like Taurus, but it's like a fix, like the words say. It's like it has ideas or come up with ideas that is not easy to move. It's not mutable like some other signs like Gemini that are more mutable. They can go with the flow. They can change opinions. They are more wide thinkers. Scorpio, it is very strong thinker, but it's more fixed. And the key word is transformation. Is death and rebirth, and is letting go, if you talk about keywords, and is desire. You're going to see why I say desire. So Scorpios are intense and their emotions run deep. Remember, it's a water sign. All the waters are emotional. This sign is associated with sexual activities and with the transformative cycles of death and rebirth. Scorpios have great personal magnetism and great powers of persuasion, or even the ability to coerce others. Their will is strong and their depth of perception is powerful. They are very intuitive. Like all the waters elements, but Scorpio, it runs deeper and in a different level because it's making a different process than Pisces and Cancer that are the other water elements. So the characteristics are loyal. So remember these characteristics when we go to the chart and we see your area. That's why I'm bringing this trace of the Scorpio energy. You go to your chart and you know that in your 8th house, whatever is going on, this energy is present. You go to your Scorpio constellation in any house in the zodiac, you know that this energy is going to be there. And then you go find your Pluto and it's talking about this. Loyalty, passionate, resourceful, observant, dynamic. The other side that is not the best is jealous, is obsessive. Like, remember, they are fixed, suspicious, they like mystery, manipulative, and unyielding. I don't know what is that word, but I'm learning. Okay, and again, is related to the 8th house in your chart. Cycles, death and rebirth, sexuality and intimacy. Remember, it's water. The water of creation that brings you to Earth is on the 12th house. All the cellular memories of your mother, and this is the sexual part. And then you have the water of the Cancerian energy that is your tree, your DNA, your blood, your ancestry. Pluto rules Scorpio and symbolize transformation and new beginnings. Those ruled by Pluto are constantly seeking the truth. And then remember also, what comes after Scorpio is Sagittarius, that they are the speakers of the truth. So when you are in your Scorpio energy, this 8th house, you are looking and obsessed with the truth. But when you go to the next house, that is the 9th house of Sagittarius, you found it. You found your truth. In Scorpio, they are seeking, they are digging, they are looking for that truth that is going to be spoken in Sagittarius in the 9th house, or in the next energy that comes after Scorpio. And an exploration for why things are happening. They're passionate on their pursuit of the truth and might be perceived as intense. Intense, yes. Anyways, they remain persistent and use their discovery to reinvent themselves. That's the main thing. That's what is related to the excretory system. We take what is like serving us to being used to be supportive of our body or of our mind or as our relationships, and we have to let go what is not serving us. That's the main cycle on the Scorpio. We take what is best, or we think or we feel is the good, and we have to let go. And that's the part that is the dark, heavy part of the Scorpio. Because also remember, the other side of Scorpio is Taurus. And Taurus wants to hold and wants to have. The other side of the axis is letting go. So to reinvent yourself, you have to be able to let go. And I always choose like what picture I can find for everybody remember or associate. And I remember the one for Virgo, that it was the cactus, that it was so perfect, precise, beautiful, clean, organized, earthy. And this is the Scorpio one. I was like, it has to be sexy. Like a Scorpio is a very strong sexual energy. It has to be related to the senses. And again, losing one sense. What happens if what do you feel when you see this picture? You are losing your eyesight, but they intensified the others. You cover your eyes when you're gonna see a surprise. You cover your eyes sometimes when you see a sexual picture. Many times they put a woman with the eyes full. How do you say? Like, I don't remember in English. How do you say covering your eyes? But
Blindfold.
yes, that. And also, if you see down there, yeah, blindfold. The sense of justice. There is a goddess that it has like a sword, a scale on the other hand, and the eyes are full, they're covered. So that is the image of the Scorpio, because you're gonna lose the senses that they are in Taurus. Remember, the second house is your five senses. You can lose something, in this case, your sense, but the other one is gonna be more potent. You're gonna be more sensitive in your ears. You're gonna be more sensitive you're gonna gain from other aspects that you never thought. So this picture for me, and one picture up here is like the sign of Pluto already. Let me see. This one right here is the Pluto sign. So I thought it was very perfect for this Scorpio energy. It's sensual, is mysterious. It can be kind of aggressive because you don't know if he's having a bad time or he's having a really good time. These pictures, and that's the double energy of the Scorpio. It can be intense, but it can be so loving, and it can be so caring, or it can be very hurtful, on the extreme. Don't you agree? This is a perfect picture for the for the Scorpion. And you're gonna remember. Okay, going back to the axis, is a water sign with Cancer and Scorpio, and Pisces is intuitive, artisty or artistic, psychic abilities, very intuitive, nurture, empathic, passionately emotional, very emotional, deep feelings, self-protective, addictive personality. Very, a Scorpio can be very addictive. But why? Because it wants to hold and have the most intense experience. It's not gonna let go. And that's a part that is in Scorpio, is no balance. When they have a big deep tendency of have abuse of alcohol, abuse of physical abuse, but because they cannot let go, they have to hold to that energy that is exploding. And very private as well. It's an energy like you saw in the pictures. Like you go inside, you cover your eyes, and you go inside, and you feel, and you sense, and you smell, and you touch. You use the senses that you use in Taurus, the other side of the axis, but you use it for the outside. And this is the water part. So we see the energy of Scorpio in two ways, related to the water element and the other water signs. And then, like I always talk about the axis. You have the Scorpio and the axis with Taurus, that you have earth and water. But then you have the other relationship that it has the Scorpio with the water signs. And if you see, these are all related to kind of sexual energy or family oriented. This is where you have the DNA cellular memories after you were conceived, after sex, after sex. You are growing in your mother's womb, and through this water is where you get all the cellular memories, all the memories from your mother lineage, your father lineage, and even, like I always say, if you have a cosmic family, if you belong to the Pleiadians, you are from Sirius, you are from any other star system, you also bring these memories in this water. This water is emotional. They are all emotional. Pisces are very emotional, as Cancerians are very emotional. It's ruled by water. So in this part is the ancestry. Whatever happened, it is related with your family tree. This is the area where we work with the family tree or with family constellation. And if we go and dig deep. And in this one, like we are talking, is about the water of our memories as well, emotions as well, and the sexual energy or the sexual act that is a transfer, a sperm, or is a transfer of liquid, or if it's transfer of saliva, or is a transfer of sweating. Uh, that's what is related to the intensity, and it's internal. Is through the senses. Can you see the relationship between the Taurus Scorpio axis with all the water also that is like making the Scorpio part of the triad? The Taurus is the five senses, is the sensual, is what you feel in your body inside with the outside, and this one, the Scorpio, is what you feel inside with your emotions. It's similar. I don't know how to explain the difference, but the Scorpio, the Taurus is five senses with the outer world, and the Scorpio is the senses with your inner world, what you desire, what you hate, what you love. Is the intensity of the feelings more than the senses. You see the difference? Any question or any comment about this? Because for me it's important. For me, these are the most important part, that for you to understand the energy of Scorpio. You can get other information on any site, or any astrologer can tell you or give you reading about the Scorpio. But this
Barbara,
association, yes.
Yoli wants, she has her hand
Oh,
raised.
okay.
So
Yes, yes,
Yoli,
yes.
go ahead.
Hi, I think it's very important. What I'm seeing here is that the opposite, the complementary Taurus and Scorpio, without the Taurus sense of the five senses, and the pleasure and the joy of experiencing life in matter, it's going to be very difficult to totally experience it without the intensity and the desire of Scorpio's energy. And the other way
Mm-hmm.
around is when Scorpio wants to go into the depth and want to feel things, it has to go to the senses to
Yeah.
experience what it is to have the pain of having, I don't know, a broken heart or a wound in your skin. So that I think is very important to have that balance and to understand the energy, how they cross in this beautiful way, I think.
Yeah, it is magnificent orchestrated,
Yeah,
because it is the axis and they go hand by hand. Without one, without the other one is not going to work. So the it's not the astrology. Life itself is, all these axes are perfect and beautiful and so magnificent. It's crazy how we are this.
synchronized.
Yeah, all this is synchronized for life, for learning and experiencing this soul's journey. Thank
Yeah,
you, Jolly, for bringing that up.
yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. And it happened with Pisces and Virgo, and it happened with Cancer. And remember, this water on the other side is the earth for all of them. The axis is water, earth. And then for the other ones, the other signs is air, fire. So in this case of these three elements of water, the earth is supporting. It has to come to, not in the midst of the water, on the flow on the water, that is not content. It has to have form on the other side of the axis, that is the earth. So it's supporting the water system to get more real, or it's going to be floating and going without any curves. So the earth is supporting the other part.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Like, I know, like, Pisces and Virgo, the axes are kind of similar in that they, like, are in service of others. Like Virgo works hard for the service of others. Pisces also like empathy and service of others. So like Taurus and Scorpio is like actually it's like they're kind of similar in the way they want to both have pleasure. Is that kind of like right assessment?
Yes.
Okay.
Taurus wants to have. That's the word for Taurus, have. And it's very sensual because all the senses are going to make him feel. The Scorpio, and if you date someone a Scorpio, and if you have relationships or you know people, they are focused on giving, because remember the energy of the Scorpio is going outside. This part of the, remember in the beginning I say this is the part of the inner and this is the outer. So Scorpio wants to share, wants to have the sensations, but giving pleasure, and giving pleasure is gonna feel pleasure, you know, but it's more outward. It's sharing with others the process. So yes, Taurus is sensual and Scorpio is sexual. It has an intent. I want to give you, is letting go my pleasure, or my pleasure is in letting go myself first, and I give you pleasure. Or cooking. I mean, Taurus wants to cook, Taurus wants to eat. And Scorpio might wants to cook for others, be a chef. You know, that explain a little bit.
Yeah. Thank you.
That was what you asked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Okay, I put this one first because I thought Fifi was going to talk first, and so we were going to have more idea of the excretory system, but it's okay. So again, the energy of Scorpio, Pluto with the excretory system. If you see this graphic, it's going to say excretory system functions: filtration and purification, waste removal, toxins, is giving, is like, is flowing. The Taurus wants to keep, and the Scorpio wants to release the toxins. For example, when we are relating this to our system that is related to Scorpio. So waste removal is giving, is letting go, is not holding like Taurus holds. Fluid balance also is going to retain what is needed. The other one is going to be more easy to let go. Now, if the person, the Scorpio, is unbalanced and wants to retain, or wants to obsess with something, or doesn't want to let go, that's when it comes the obsessions, or with the clutter, or with the drugs abuse, or alcohol, or shopping, or whatever. It's like keep. The function of the excretory: electrolyte regulation, blood pressure control. Again, balance between what is needed, what is not needed, what it needs to be letting go to have balance. It's a very, like Pisces, they search for balance, and that's why they search for truth. Remember when we say the truth is like, is the look for the balance. And in the body is between the regulation of many things on the system pass for the kidney. The excretory system is related to the urine system, the kidneys, but also is a collaboration. That's what Fifi was going to explain. It's a collaboration because you have the excretory system through the digestive. You are, letting your waste go. Then the sweating is another way of letting go toxins. So you are releasing from many ways, and the excretory explained in the biology is the kidney, liver. From the Scorpio view, Pluto and the 8th house, the three things that we are looking this energy is the ultimate elimination. deep regeneration, emotional purging, assessing inner resources, handling toxins, internal and externals, even people that are toxic, relationships that are toxic, shedding all forms. It's all about letting go. If you think about Scorpio, that's the main thing. It's like being able to release. And transformation through releasing. Death and rebirth. Like the death is letting go all the life that we had, all the stuff that we had, the very Taurus, all the dreams, all the 3D reality that we have, like 3D is Taurus. I always gonna talk about the axis because I cannot separate it. So integration, the kidney, the gatekeepers of internal purity, Scorpio's filter. Elimination as rebirth, excreting to become renewed, Pluto's cycle. Fluid balance as emotional equilibrium, water element. Releasing toxins, physical and psychic, Scorpio death. Regulating life force through waste control and the power of shedding to sustain life. If we don't let go of the toxins or we don't work with the detox or detoxing from toxin relationships, the life, balanced life is probably gonna end. And here is the axis that I've been talking about. Toro represents nourishment, so there is attachment to things that make you feel nourished. Scorpio shows the importance of being in touch with your deep self. Here, there is an attachment to emotions. The Taurus is attachment to things, to hold. Taurus is able to put deep root into the soil, the Scorpio into the soul. Letting go of what is not needed is the key. What can make you feel safe might not be what is serving you. This is very important quote. What can make you feel safe might not be what is serving you. And here we see Taurus is I have, so is holding, and Scorpio is I desire. Is something outside, is something that you don't have. You desire something that you don't have or that is making you feel something. And here again, I was going to explain about all the houses, but I didn't in the beginning. When we go through the soul journey and we get more conscious in each step, mind, body, family, creativity, our body, our health, our relationships, when we get to the 8th house of let go, and I always relate and I always say this is the dark night of the soul kind of Scorpio energy, or it's the house or where you have the Scorpio, because it's related to death and rebirth. Is all the stuff that we have to let go. We get divorced, we get sick, we lose our job, we lose our parents when, at some moment in life. All this process is normal, is needed, and this Scorpio energy is one of the most important because it make us jump into the next house that I was talking in the beginning, that is the house of truth, expansion, wisdom. After we go through all the let go and all the things that we lose in life and go deep and cry and excrete and cars and all those emotions that are very scorpionic, that they need to help us to die in some aspects. If we lose our parents, we're going to die in the aspect that, okay, from now on, is ourselves. It's just alone. We are alone. Our parents are not in this reality. We don't have their support. We're going to miss them. Many things that they're going to make us become more wisdom, more center, more truthful. We're going to expand, because if we lose something, we're going to have to work it out to get something in return for the expansion. Is we lose, like the same with the toxins. We release the toxins, but we gain health. We gain feeling better. We gain a healthy life. So that's the main thing in the area of your chart that you have the Scorpio, is finding that area is gonna push us to let go and transform in order always, and that's the main thing, to get to the Sagittarius energy. That is the expansion, the truth, the wisdom, the good feeling, the positive. Sagittarius is very is on the mid heaven, is the brightest, more go positive. I mean, of course, Sagittarius people or that energy might have challenge, but normally, like in astrology, that's the area where you get all the wisdom after you go through the dark night of the soul. So Scorpio is one of the most uncomfortable or challenging areas of the chart or experience in life, because you go deep with all the emotions, like I say, from good, from bad, from up and down. Life is gonna just roll you over, and to get into the other side, that is the other side, the other no, the light at the end of the tunnel. And we go here to the practical, to the charts that I was gonna use. I think Astrid asked me for the put her chart, and I put mine. So remember, in the chart we're gonna work with the houses, that are universal, they don't move, and then because everybody's gonna have the 8th house on the same place. But then what is moving is gonna be the houses. I have a Scorpio in my 2nd house. Some people have a Scorpio on the 12th, on the 7th, etc. So that's the part that is moving and is different for everybody and is personal. And then if you have any planets in that area, that is gonna bring more information. The aspects, we're not going to go because that's even deeper. You do it with an astrologer. So again, for the practical, what are we going to do? Find the house you have a Scorpio. And then, like I say, you're going to combine that energy, the letting go, the trying to rebirth, trying to recreate yourself through loss, through pain, through intensity, to going deep, to all that. Then you go and look what's going on your 8th house. What's going on? The same. What do you have in your 8th house? I think I have Taurus in my 8th house. So I say, okay, Scorpio and Taurus, and on the other side, Taurus, Scorpio, and I make the mesh and I relate what those energies are telling me. And then you find the Pluto, that's what I say in the beginning. You find the ruler of the Scorpio, that is Pluto. Where is a Scorpio in your chart? That area is also an area of death and rebirth. So you have 3 points in your chart that we know. Now we are talking about Scorpio, but you go to these 3 areas of your chart, and it's gonna give you experiences of death and rebirth or transformation. I have Pluto in my 1st house. My identity is going to go through periods of transformation and death. I'm going to have to die completely in some aspects of what define me and become new. Then, someone that has Pluto on the 7th house, relationships. For that you need to know what each house is. So, relationships. If you have Pluto there in your chart, relationship is going to be a point that is going to be always something that's going to make you grow, go deep, make some letting go, toxins, to find the wisdom always. Because, if we don't think that way, that, okay, we're going to have that challenge in that area, but of course, that's for the wisdom that is coming after. Yoli, you have in the 10th house is your career. You might change careers, or like suddenly one day, okay, no, I'm gonna do this completely different. I'm gonna let go the past 20 years of doing whatever, and I'm gonna do something new. I'm getting in touch with something that is making me feel, is giving me more wisdom, is giving me more depth, you know. So also, of course, where you have a Scorpio in your house, in which house you have a Scorpio, let's say, 12th house, Pam, you have a Scorpio in the 12th house, is like, of course, is your family tree, is your cosmic family. You're gonna have to go deep, and you're gonna have to also let go things that make you feel secure or connected or disconnected, because Pisces or 12th house can be also a house that is not so clear. So again, when you read these energies, you have to associate the whole chart. It's not just mathematic, this and this and that. It's like the whole chart is giving you information. So again, go to your chart, find the 3 areas you have a Scorpio energy. The house number 8, where Pluto is, and also where Scorpio constellation is, in which house. And that's the main thing that the 12 system ask, where do you have the Scorpio? Okay, this is again, Pluto is power, rebirth, intensity, regeneration, subconscious, elimination. The 8th house, transformation. I'm going to share these pictures on the group, so maybe it's going to be useful. 8th house, transformation, share resources, inherit the mystery of life and death, and taboos. It's hidden. It's like stuff under the water. And the taboos and determines. Determines, I don't know what that means. It can be related. Okay. Scorpio is, determined. It's like, go get it. They are very focused, investigative, passionate, secretive, okay. This EI is making this graphic a little bit funny. They put whatever. And then the water element, intuitive, emotional, sensitive, adaptable, and receptive. And I'm going to give this first example that is a random, but I wanted to use this one. What you do in your chart, the first thing is you find where you have the Scorpio. And I'm going to do first the basic, the Matias talk on the 12 system, that is find a Scorpio in your chart. If you want to go deeper, you find Pluto. If you want to go deeper, you look what you have in your 8th house. But that's the level 2. Matias, first thing that he'd say, find a Scorpio. The Scorpio is down here. Where is a Scorpio? In the house of Cancer. For this person, I don't remember who this person is. So you have water, that is a Scorpio, is the water that cleans, is the water that goes deep and take the toxins. And then 4th house, you have the family, is the water also. So you have water. This is how you do your chart, water plus water. What do you think this person, with the water in the water, with the water, and then he has the Pluto in the water, is like so much water. It's going to be intense. It's going to be very deep. It's going to be very emotional. It's going to be very emotional with the family. So you say, house number 4 is family, is ancestral, is my mother, is my country of origin, everything that is related to the house number 4. And then you put the energy of Scorpio that is going to transform, and is going to purge that area, or is going to clean that area, or is going to be obsessive, or is going to be very loving, or the family can be very absorbing, or it can be very intense. So you mix all the information from the house and what a Scorpio is, that is, I just put it on all this PDF. You make that blend, and you have this person with a very intense family relationship. that is going to transform, and she's going to go deep into the emotions, and is going to have a lot of experience with the family. It's going to have a lot of like scorpionic experience with the family. Transformation, letting go, intensity, hidden stuff. But like I say, if you don't look the whole chart, you can not find the truth meaning of the having a Scorpio in the fourth house. You can say a few things that I just say, but then you're gonna see, oh, okay, you know, Chiron here, the moon up here. The moon is the mother, is the needs, so it is in opposition of the fourth house. So you add more information. But that's level 3. And then level 2, like I say, you know, Pluto. This person has Pluto on water sign, on a water house, is pure water. This person is a tsunami walking. It's gonna just be very deep, swimming into life. Next, I think this one was Astrid. And she asked me, because we were talking in the group of the 12 system, we were talking about the full moon in a Scorpio that we had a few days ago. Again, having a full moon in a Scorpio, that we are talking about this energy, and that's why she was asking to see her chart. Again, the moon is water, and a full moon is like all the waters are gonna move and rise, and all the emotions are gonna be moved. And in a Scorpio is a double, and that was a moon, blue moon and Wessex moon, so it's more intense and deep and transformative. So that area of the chart, once a year, but blue moon is every 3 years. But that's what was so intense, the moon, the May 1st. And everybody got some movements emotionally. It can be physical, it could be some toxins or throwing up or diarrhea or stuff in the house or stuff with relationships. This energy of Scorpio was big time move. And so
Wait,
in her,
can I ask you a quick question? In the previous chart, it has the same moon, rising, sun as me in the 4th house in Scorpio, but I have Pluto in Scorpio. Does that make me even more emotional and family
yes,
oriented than them? It's the
uh,
exact same with the
it's
Pluto instead of in Pisces.
similar. Similar, because this person has Pluto on the 8th house. The 8th house is a Scorpio, so it is similar.
I have it in the
And
4th house, the Scorpio.
yeah, but it's also water. So it's water, 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 because you have a Scorpio on the 4th house, but you have Pluto here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's similar than this person. A lot of emotional, because you, like I say about family and the country that you belong, because that's the 4th house, is home, is the building that you live, is the country that you live, is the family that you live, is the belonging. The 4th house is belong. That's the word. Belong to my father, belong to this house, belong to this building, this country.
I moved away from Korea. I immigrated from South Korea when I was 10.
Well,
So I'm countries like
maybe
that.
there was a transit going through your 4th house, Scorpio, that, because then I have one picture here with the transits. When you see the transit that they're gonna be moving, and they're gonna touch your planets, that's when changes happen or movements happen in your life. But yeah, very similar to what
Okay.
just say. If you have a Scorpio in the 4th house with Pluto, it's even more. Very transformative, like a family environment. Very.
That resonates.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, for Astrid, that she, and if you want to know more questions, you can post it on the group or send me a text on WhatsApp. So for Astrid, that is, she wanted to know her Scorpio. Now, this example is perfect because she has a Scorpio half and half. You see? Let me see. Is half a Scorpio in the 7th house, half a Scorpio on the 8th. Let me see. Because that line is making me confused. Okay. So, but she has Libra mostly on the 7th house. So she has the Libra in the 7th, and she's going to have a Scorpio on the 8th. And she has Neptune. But she was asking me about the moon, that the moon was in the 10 degrees, 11 degree Scorpio, the May 1st. So in the house that it was your, let me see, I'm making so much. So for her, or for anybody, where you have a Scorpio 11 degree, like in the beginning, it's around here. That moon a few days ago was where it was touching. For her, it was relationship. Even in the 12th system, the Scorpio energy is on the 8th house. In doing a reading for her about the moon, it was about relationship. So letting go of toxins, or maybe even a toxic relationship, or what you feel or think about the relationship, or what you feel or think about your job or your siblings if your Scorpio is in the 3rd house. Renew is the word. So what are we letting go, or what are the things that we need to transform and go deep and say, this is not serving me, this is really making me myself toxic, or having more fears, or having more tsunamis, emotional tsunamis, that I need to stop. I need to see things more clear, more ground. And sometimes I always, when I do readings, I try to find, I call it the medicine, trying to find the medicine in the chart that is going to give you that balance. Yes, you can have a Pluto in the 4th house, having a very intense family relationships, or family base, or intense country, or controlling, because Scorpio is controlling. But then if you look in your chart, it can be where Pluto is, or if Venus is making an aspect with your Pluto, or if you have Venus that it can, or Jupiter that are positive, that are bringing more expansion and more good, you always going to find the medicine in the chart. Even you have the Scorpio, the worst transit or the worst chart, that is not worse, it's like more challenging and life lessons, you always find in the chart something that is going to back you up. Even if it's Saturn, is going to give you the ground. Work with Saturn. It happened with some people that in some readings is like, okay, yes, so much intensity, so much water. We need to find something that make you ground. So we work with the Saturn, with the focus, with the stay focused, stay ground. Try to control Capricorn or Saturn. Try to control or find the good, and I think this is the transit. Is this my chart? No. I put this transit to see. Oh, I know. This is one of my ex, the Scorpio ex, and I wanted to use this chart. So you see, Sun in Scorpio, Scorpio on the 9th house, and I put the transit with the moon on the May 1st. His moon, you see, the full moon, Taurus, Scorpio, it was on top of his Mercury. And his Scorpio energy is up here on the midheaven, meaning it's explosive, it's gonna be seen, it's gonna be shown, it's gonna be outside. If you have a Scorpio down here, it's more intimate. Remember, this is a personal, intimate part of the chart, but this is the one that you expose and you share with others. So, again, having the Scorpio up here is gonna be put it out there. Having this Western Moon May 1st on the Mercury, probably he was screaming, he was like fighting or telling someone what to do or what he felt, or it's emotional, but it's also mental. It can be that this full moon brought him clarity on where he wanted to go, because this is the area of expansion and it's on the ninth house. So maybe he got a brilliant idea in this past full moon on what is the next step on commerce, because Mercury is the one, is the best seller, is a seller, is the one that is going to give ideas, like expand, or depends what you do. If you work on sales, is going to, if you work in writing books, if you are a teacher, you know each Mercury is gonna be a different for everybody. So, or it can be expression of the vocal expression, like being mad because it was a potent full moon in Scorpio. So again, astrology is not precise. Is the energy, is showing the energy that is moving through that moment. Each person is different. That's what we have personal sessions, and you have to read the whole thing to understand what's going on with this full moon Scorpio.
It's good.
Yes, yes, I see it.
Okay, so as usual, this is just the overview, as I use the same structure for everything. I'm not going to take time on explaining that because Barbara already introduced the energies of a Scorpio. And I always like to start with an image that connect with me through these energies, because when I prepare these presentations, I feel like I'm living the energy of Scorpio, and I'm going through this Scorpion process in my life. But also, this is part of my practice. I am a coach, and I use these energies of Scorpio to go deep into subconscious of people. Transformation comes from that part. And that's why this Scorpio energy is the one that leads us to look at what we avoided because it's painful, because it brought trauma, because it's taboo, all that energies that Barbara explained, so we can transform it. And the way of transforming something is to, first of all, acknowledge it, open up ourselves to be brave also, to observe, to listen, to feel in our body again, revive again all these moments that touch us so deeply, so we can give them light, we can be aware. And I'm not talking only about our personal experiences, but also our family memory, our universal memories that we carry as humans in this earth. So for me, this system, this Scorpio system and excretory system is very important for us. It's like a key of transformation. And not only transformation, but also I'm going to talk about the rebirth and the what it really means, resurrection. So I was thinking, I was feeling that resurrection came to me, and obviously I don't know about astrology as Barbara, but I'm fascinated by the stories. I feel like the stories, the myths always tell us all this, and symbolically, right, tell us that information that we are tapping into right now. At least it helps me a lot to understand. And I came into this story and this myth about Orion and Scorpio. And the myth talks about how Gaia, well, I'll tell a little bit like Orion. I think everybody knows who was Orion. It was a hunter, and it's the stars that like, or the constellation that we are known, like we know a lot of because of what Matias explained about the belt of Orion, the alignment of the pyramids that are related to that. But Orion also is for the Egyptian Osiris, and Osiris was the resurrected. So how these stories get together, and how important was for the map of the sky to understand that relationship between Orion and the Scorpio, because Orion is the winter sky, and the Scorpio is in the front, is in front of it. It's like it's the opposite. It's in the opposite sky. Is that when Scorpio rises, Orion sets. And the story starts with Orion being apparently this egomaniac. Oh, he always said that he could kill any animal, any beast on Earth. And Gaia, Mother Earth, the goddess of Earth, she sent him, the Scorpio, to, I guess, I imagine, for what I read, prove him wrong, right? That his ego, this part of him that everybody has about the control and overestimation can be challenged. So the Scorpio came to him and sting him, and he died. And in this story also appears Asclepius or Ophiuchus. So what happened? Ophiuchus, which is the serpent bearer, the one that heals, that the one that knows about these healing powers. He was a student of Chiron. He resurrect him because he found this poison that become the venom of the poison of one snake becoming an antidote. When he saw this one snake beating the other, he found the cure, and he revived Orion. And in that story, that's why he on the sky is with his feet in top of a Scorpio. But well, we talked about Asclepius before. I think he was in Virgo because he kind of challenged Hades, which is the god of the underworld, and he was killed by Zeus. And Zeus, after that, put him on the constellation over there. But how this link onto the resurrection of Orion to be a story that linked to us about the real resurrection, because Orion and Osiris are the resurrected. And who else was the resurrected? Christ. So they're talking about the story of like the resurrection comes from finding the venom, the poison, and then from there we can find the cure. We can find something that makes us go through this moment of death and transformation. So this is important because for me opened my eyes, and I'm like, of course, this is what we do when I see people that want to really resurrect from their experience, right? They want to come out with the light. They want to understand what was happening with them in the practice of the subconscious, observing what hurt us, and we need to use that poison as our medicine. And so through the skies, I saw this relation, and I felt like it was very powerful to understand that their actual resurrection is the regeneration and transmutation through the poison, through that alchemical process of understanding what, and observing that ego, dying through that ego, and understanding and coming out to life to life again, and not just to life, but to light, the light that later we see in Sagittarius, show us a different person, right? It's like Osiris. Osiris was he was cutting parts. It's like us, right? When we go through a certain thing in our life, we feel like we are broken in parts, and then Isis brought him to light, something like help us put in these pieces again, and then we resurrect like it's a different person. We are putting together these pieces that put us apart, right? Broke us apart, but now we're a different person, but we resurrect with a different consciousness. So I found this image on the sky, which I really love, because I think I've never seen how the sky have all these constellations. And yes, we can see here that the Scorpio is in one side of the sky and Orion is in the opposite side. And they said that when this happened and then Orion resurrect, I don't know if it was Gaia or Zeus, they put him in the opposite sides of the sky so they don't hurt, it doesn't go, that conflict doesn't go again. So they are in two different sides of the sky. So starting with this little information about the Scorpion energies, this is something that I always put here, but it's what Barbara talked about. So you just have it here. So if anytime you would like to see again the video, you have here again the same energies of the sign, deep emotions, hidden desires, unconscious memories. Scorpio and the energies of Pluto talk about control, symbolic death, transformation, loss, regeneration. These are the same questions that Barbara talked about, so you can use it for yourself when you work on the charts of the 12 systems. And this is the same chart that Barbara uses this is actually for my own learning too. So where is Pluto? Where is Scorpio? Where is the A house? And these are some of the questions that Matias also wrote when he presented the 12 systems. And on the concept space, we asked ourselves what energies of the sign of the Scorpio we are working right now, or we are experiencing, in what part and what process and time we are with that sign. That is, the space sign is like, of course, this water sign. But what process in time I'm experiencing that is something that I'm living like in an experimental way, or experiencing or transcending it. And this is more in depth when we go through, I believe, more into the emotional work or using the 12 system. And so we start really observing where I'm living this and how, in what stage of my life I'm living these energies. So this is the chart that we use and we share, so you can use that as your guidance, answering questions sometimes, help putting together the information, because it's a lot, like Barbara explained, like astrology has a lot of information, and sometimes putting this together in the chart help us visualize. And here I just use this for me to see what is the ruling planets for the signs. And right now we are at the last stage of the soul journey, house 8, the Scorpio, Excretory System. The person that Matias said to observe is a friend, but like from my perspective, you can use any person, because the important thing is see what is the mirror that are showing you, reviving that energies of the Scorpio and the Excretory System. So the space is water and the time is the expression. So with this image, I felt like it's like a small visual like information. Just looking at that, that's what the Scorpio is. And the Excretory System will show us how we also uh, our body needs release, our emotions needs release for purification to transform. So what no longer serves us must be released so energy can circulate again. And we don't really know how much we are holding into it until we really observe it. I think most of people, that's why trying to avoid Scorpio and that energies. But I thought that this is a beautiful way of showing how breaking, letting go, breaking these chains that is not serving us anymore. Like we are holding into things with emotions that we think that are not affecting us, but it affects us, doesn't let us really continue our life evolving, feeling free to really observe and live who really are we as our own self and our most authentic self. Until we don't get through this process, everything that we are looking as shining as ourselves and really live our I am. In my opinion, of course, every word I say is my perspective, and I feel like it will be very difficult if we don't go through this process. So this system, the excretory system, talks about this release, purification, transformation. Speaks of the sacred intelligence of that release, teaches us how we can only keep flowing when we really are willing to let go. We need to recognize, first of all, what serves us. We need to honor that. Sometimes we don't want to see that. It's hard because when you experience something that is very painful, very hard, it's very hard also to honor it. It's a lot of inner work, observing, using that compassion and love. But it's easy to say it. We need to experience it. But giving the first step of willing to observing that and walk this path, I think this is the most important step of like being open to observe it and to recognize it. So as we talk, water element is the element of this system and these energies. But the water here is not like the water in Cancer, that is nurturing waters. There is not like a soft water. These waters are deep. The waters of Scorpio are subterranean, emotional, psychological waters, seeking emotional truth. Is when we really go in these deep waters where we cannot see things, when the light starts getting like less and less and more dim light, and we are afraid to go into these dark waters. Personally, it's challenging for me to go physically in deep waters. And when I did that it was like a psychomagical exercise for me. I did it in one of the cenotes in Mexico. It was transformed. I feel that I went through a death and transformation. Like my body felt like completely out of this world, and I couldn't move. Like I fell asleep for an hour after that, and it was the weirdest things in my life that I experienced. But I felt terror to go to these waters because it was in a cave. And I knew that was there because I needed to confront my fears. So I invite everybody to really experience something like that if they can, because the body needs to go through processes so you can also connect it with your emotions, because our body is the one that remembers. And having these experiences in our bodies connect with our emotions in our minds too. So we came from Libra. If you remember, the previous sign was Libra, and Libra opens the field of relationship. It's when all these cycles of like going from Aries. The person is born, has a body, then the body communicates with Gemini, and then goes through Cancer and Virgo, and then arrives to Libra, where it finds another. And finding this other is where a lot of these challenging emotions start raising up, because it's when we start really observing in the other and seeing the other as the mirror, and awakens in us a lot of these emotional challenges that we had even when we were kids and we were growing up, or even our ancestral memory from our family trees start arising when we start having a relationship with another. So here Scorpio reveals what relationships awaken underneath the surface, because here is when we have deep emotional relationship with someone, is when we really are touching this space. So in the evolution of this arc of the soul, we saw, like I just was talking about, this is the soul arc. We are in the last part of the soul arc. And the passage from Libra to Scorpio is the movement from balance, from relational balance into the emotional truth. Is where the soul enters this deep alchemical phase of transformation. So Libra teaches us to recognize ourselves in the others, but Scorpio, what it teaches us is to release, is to transform, to regenerate. What relationships awaken within us? Observing in that is very useful, but it's sometimes very painful. Scorpio transforms me through what the other awakens in me. So every time you are in front of any relationship, not just a romantic relationship with your kids, with your boss, with your co-workers, in your family, just remember that the other are there to show you, to see that part, which is that shadow that you consciously don't want to see. We see in the others and sometimes what things that we don't like, and we just stop in the first phase when we said, oh, the judgment, right? I don't like this, I don't agree with that, this person do this to me, it made me feel this way. But when we actually stop ourselves and we see the other as ourselves in the mirror, in the other side, and we ask the question, what is the reason that I'm looking at this, and what is the message that I get from that? When we just do this small moment of stopping, and instead of judging it, we realize that everything that we see in front of us has to do with ourselves, we can start this path of recognition of our shadow, and recognizing the shadow and working with that shadow, which is this Scorpio energy, is gonna make us go and see the light and see who we really are and who we really want to be. Because in this moment you can choose. Before you didn't know, before you were not aware, so you can say, yeah, I didn't see how I can choose. But when you already see, and when you already recognize things, you can choose. And I think here is where we have the free will. We don't have free will living things that we inherited as an information from our family tree, things that our soul compromised with ourselves to experience so we can evolve and grow. But we can always experience something in a way where we choose how we want to experience it, with what consciousness we want to experience it. I always put this so people know that there is a difference between medical astrology and the 12 biological systems that Matias explained. So, for example, for this medical astrology, Scorpio is related to gallbladder, genital, sexual organs, and a urogenital system. But for the 12 system is the excretory system. So the functions of the bodies, in this case, excretory systems, are very related, as you will see, to the actual energies of the Scorpio, and the symbolic functions of them too, because these we see it through BioNeuroEmotion and biodecoding. So actual excretory system, the biological function is to really eliminate what is unnecessary. It receives all the nutrients, we through the digestive system process it, and then it separates it, and then the excretory system is the one that eliminates through filtering the blood, eliminating the all these waste through the fluids or the sweating, like Barbara was saying. Is also regulating the pH, the pH in our blood, in our bodies, expels the substances that are not useful, release excess. And the symbolic functions are the same way. The retentions of the emotional feelings that we have when we have any difficulties of letting go, of fear of loss or losing control, and some emotions that come with this are like resentment, guilt, shame, anger, that we could not release from ourselves. Also holding into past relationships or feeling invaded or unable to mark territory. I actually, I don't know, it came to mind the story of like a friend that she was going through she was moving houses, and she had problems with her vowels. So I was like, it's very related to what you let go, right? Like when you're moving, you need to let go many things. You need to make a cleansing in your house, and a lot of people that are going through these type of changes are start having problems, physical problems with their stomach and their regular bowels. So the excretory system has this function, the essential function of eliminating what the body no longer needs. So it works like that to maintain the balance, basically. If we don't eliminate things, we cannot receive new ones, right? If we don't give a space, emotional space and physical space, we cannot, we are stopping the flow, the cycles. And this system, what it talks about is these cycles, the cycles of receiving, transforming, letting go. And this is something that is hard for us to comprehend, because we naturally hold or want to hold into things that it means something very emotional for us. And our body will somatize all these emotions. So the body literally speaks what our soul is not able to speak, right? And when we see anything that is happening in our body, and that's why we're looking at this from the biology, we can use this as an information of how we need to observe my emotions. Here I just listed some of the organs of this system and how biologically they'll help us eliminate things in our body, but also how symbolically we can relate to that and realize that we need to connect that and observing how I'm living these energies in my own body. So the excretory system has 4 basic organs, which is the kidney, the kidneys, the bladder, ureter, and urethra. And also from a broader view of the body of elimination of toxins, we can connect it to the colon, to the skin, the lungs, and the liver. So the kidneys, for example, the biological system is to filter the blood, remove the waste, and regulate fluids. And in the same way, symbolically, it's about the same thing. Emotionally, how we filter and discern what is toxic for us and how we can avoid this intoxication. The bladder stores urine until elimination, so the symbolic function is accumulation of all this emotion, all this pressure, how is this irritating us, how it makes our stress about territorial issues or unexpressed boundaries. The ureter biologically transport urine from the kidneys to the bladder. So symbolically, it's talking about the transition of an emotion that has already been processed and is going to exit. And the urethra allows the urine to leave the body, and symbolically is the act of release. It's the fear of finally letting go. Colon, the biologically, is absorb the waters and the electrolytes and compacts the waste and eliminate the feces. And symbolically speaks about releasing the past. Skin protects the body, eliminates also all the amounts of the toxins or things that we don't need through the sweat, or water or waste through the waters. And the symbolic talks about the releasing of the through the surface. Now the boundaries also that we are unable to put, because the skin is our first boundary with the external world. So how we also are living this, putting that limits, these boundaries. What is toxic for us to not get into our space, right? So the lungs also are another organ that help us eliminate toxins through the oxygen, of course, and the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. And the symbolic is the release through the breath, exhale, and how I can see it also in the way of like our breath is a way of also communicate from the inside of our body and the outside, and how it's important to really make consciousness about what toxins get into ourselves, our bodies, through the words also. And the liver, the biological function is metabolize nutrients or detoxify substances, and the symbolic is to process what is dense, bitter, or toxic. So this is more like a very biological technologies. ¿Cómo se dice? Biologic technicalities. Oh, sorry. So here I'm connecting now in this part. I really like to focus and observe our body through that emotions. And the excretory system speaks of the intelligence of release, emotional intelligence of release. It teaches us the elimination is not loss, which sometimes we give them that symbology of like, if I let loose or let go, I'm losing something forever, but nothing is lost. Everything is transformed. And also elimination or letting something to transform is care for life. And I'm living this right now in my own skin with my own son. So he's a teenager, and I already know that the kid is gone. And it's a very scorpionic process. So in here we see this conflict of retention, and we need to ask ourselves what I'm still retaining that needs to live now, right? Sometimes when we want to keep something, can be, even if we keep, even the people, it comes to me right now in my mind, it just had this vision of people that are hoarders, right? That they hoard things. Why they hoard things? Not because they like things, it's because it means something to them, right? Like every time you hold into something, ask yourself, what this mean to me? Because it's not the object, it's not money that you want to accumulate, it's not things that you want to accumulate for the sake of being the things. It's what it means for you. And this is the big question to observe and help yourself, I think, observing that in a different perspective and really work in the let go. So conflict of loss, the same way, right? When we lost someone, what expectations am I still holding, even though reality has changed, has already changed? Can be loss of people, can be loss of a job, can be lost of many things. We need to observe it. What was the expectation that I was the thing that I'm holding into? Sometimes we need to observe that, like the same way of like what we retain is what is the expectation I have of this thing that I'm holding into, that sometimes is not real, right? Now the conflict on control is another thing here, very powerful for these energies. If I let go, something inside of me dies or leave, right? It's like, I've seen this at work a lot, right? When the boss doesn't want to give the control, or like just open and then being like trust, right, to their employees to do their work. Some people are like very controlling in this way, or in relationships, doesn't matter, because they think like if they let go, something will die or leave, and they then also they feel this responsibility of like, you know, not having that control. But actually these are, the control is an illusion. That's one of the things that open up your perception, when you realize, when you sometimes really open and then let go, things balance themselves, things go into the homeostasis. With sometimes things the opposite, but we need to change that perception to trying to see it from the other angle, and realize that the more we try to control, the more we are trapped into that, and it's giving us the same outcome, right? This control, we are not controlling anything. So the emotions we retain when we do not feel safe or release, these are some, but these are the main. The fear of losing the control, or losing someone, or facing an ending. Resentment is when you hold into what you felt unfair, invasive, unresolved, unjust. Guilt, when you feel responsible for what happened, or what ended, or wasn't, what was not done. The shame of hiding something that is taboo, considered forbidden, dirty, unacceptable. The anger or rage, when you suppress this reaction to invasion, betrayal, abuse of power, or boundary violation. I put here one of my favorite movies that talk about the shadows. If you didn't watch it, I really recommend it. I highly recommend it. It's called A Monster Calls. And it's a story of this boy, Connor, that his mother is dying from cancer. I'm not going to be a spoiler. I'm not going to tell the whole story. But here in this movie, we can see how we judge ourselves for not really speaking up what we really feel, even if it's very, very painful. And how we judge ourselves, and how this pain show us, the life show us back this pain, because we are living in this dark moment, and everything that is around us, because this kid is going through these emotions, and he's bullied at school. And sometimes when we see that, we can think that he's the victim, right? That for him, he's been bullied, his mom is dying from cancer. But like I said, I'm not going to spoil the movie. But you can see also that bully is how he's bullying himself. You see outside what we are inside. Everything that comes to us is us doing this through others. So here in that movie, the healing, like, but you will see how is this all this, the relationship with this character is that is portrayed by a tree, which is a yew tree, which is also the tree where they extract the medicine that his mom is taking because she's going through cancer. So it's very, very symbolic, very deep movie. Here I could see like this healing is not found in what we polish, because it wasn't something about this perspective they give us about this movie is not, the healing didn't come of how we polish something, but how we really have the courage to compost. The shadow self that we see in this movie is the facing the ugly truth. Like I was saying, the monster represents the kid's repressed anger and his darkest thoughts. Then we're going to see at some part like the destruction and rebirth, like a Scorpio is the sign of the phoenix. So it's to destroy the old to allow the new. A stronger self that emerged from that ashes of grief. And the necessity of letting go. Because the humans must release these painful thoughts and truths. It's this call, this invitation to move this waste of emotion, this guilt, or any emotion like anger, shame, any of those emotions out of the system so you can survive the trauma. And something that the monster told him that I like, because we can talk, you can go into therapies and talk about this and talk about this, but until you don't do something, your life won't change. So the monster said, you don't write your life with words, you write it with actions. And when we go through this deep work of the subconscious and healing through these deep emotions, we need to do something. We need to action. We need to start practicing consciousness, taking consciousness, and then every time we face something, like I was saying, something that we don't like about the other, we judge it. Instead of judging it, stop, take a moment, and think that everything that I see outside is just a reflection of myself. So from BioNeuroEmotion scope, which is one of the methods I use in my practices, what we really focus is not in blaming the emotion. We actually open up to observe the perception, what it means to me. So our perceptions, our beliefs, the learned patterns that we had from our society or our culture or family generate emotions in ourselves, and these emotions influence also our state of being, our biology, because our body somatizes. He will make an interpretation of the emotion, and it's gonna show us, like other people show us what is wrong with us, what we need to observe, what we need to work on. Our bodies does the same thing through the biological life that it has. So here in BioNeuroEmotion, the question is not what happened to you, right? Because everybody's like, why me? What is this happening to me? Is what's for? Why I'm looking at this, and what meaning I give to what happened. Here is the key. Some of the questions, I'm just listing some so you can be a little familiar if you are interested on this. Try to observe yourself with that questions. What part of me needs to symbolically die so my authentic version can be reborn? What am I still holding onto that has already completed their cycle in my life? And like, for example, you divorce and then you're thinking, that's it, done. But you keep talking about it and having these feelings years after year after year. You didn't let go. Doesn't matter if you divorce. The same thing with someone that hurt you. And you say, when this emotion will go away, it's so hurtful. And I've seen it in my practices, and I live it in my life. We think that sometimes the thing that hurt us the most, it will disappear when this person goes away, but it's not, because they're still living in you. All these emotions are yours. You need to work on them. You need to transform them, and letting them go is transforming them. Another question, what I'm afraid will happen if I truly let this go? Where do I confuse control with protection? This happened to me. Like my son, like I said, he's a teenager. He's like driving now. And I'm like, am I controlling? Or am I protecting him if I don't let him go with the car? And a lot of emotions raise from that, but I'm trying to observe it and let go the control, because we cannot avoid anything in life, to anybody and to ourselves. Doesn't matter how we think we can control it, we cannot control the outcomes. Is life. Another question, what emotion have I not allowed myself to fully name or feel or express? And this is important. That's why therapy, whatever you want to call it, acompañamientos or whatever, coaching, is very important, because it's when you really allow yourself to speak up, to feel, to open, to name something. And already doing this is very therapeutical. And another and the last one question that you can work on yourself is, what story or secret or family loyalty I am carrying that may not be belonging to me. And this we see a lot in BioNeuroEmotion when we look at and we work on the transgenerational patterns with our family tree, because sometimes we are carrying that information and we are like loyal unconsciously, subconsciously, to these mandates. Here are just a little points that I put here about the space. Of course, we know it's a Scorpio, it's water space, which is the element, and in which circumstances I live this energy in my life. If you see any of those, like fear of losing something, hiding something forbidden, unacceptable, these are few, right? Like you can use this with any of these energies and emotions that I've been mentioning. Also in the time, in what time or what stage am I related to that energy, and the person who, here I just listed what it says, friend, but it's who really awakens on me or like triggers me these emotions, so I can observe them and work with them. I listed here some of the, because I thought that, of course, it's Scorpio and we need to talk about taboo. These are some subjects, taboo subjects, that are, of course, underneath the surface. And these things that we keep them underneath the surface, we keep them in the subconscious way, right? And the important thing is to observe them, give them light. And once you see them, you talk about it, you feel, you start really recognizing this as part of you, and also integrate this as part of you to transcend, because we cannot skip the integrational part. And the integration is to observe it and recognize it and put it together. So some of the taboo subjects that can be facing in these energies is secrets and hidden family stories. A lot of that is very important to observe. What is the secrets that your family never talk about it? You will experience it in your life and you will not understand it. And I know that our culture, sometimes we hear from our parents or grandparents, oh no, that's the past, we don't talk about that. Or this is family matters, we don't show it, we don't talk about that with anyone. But the secrets here are the worst, because once you cannot see it, you don't know how to handle it, you don't know how to manage it. Shame, guilt, emotional toxins, trauma and emotional wounds, power of control, manipulation, grief, loss, unresolved mourning, addictions also, compulsive patterns. All of that is related to this energy. Because of course an addiction is like you are addicted to something because you are hiding something that is deep in there, and you're trying to keep hiding it, not bringing it to light because it's too painful. Money, inheritance, debts, and shared resources. Very Scorpion is right. Is my resources with yours, what you share with the other. Very taboo. Also, a lot of like marriages. I think I don't know. I don't know everyone, but of my marriages had these discussions about value and share resources. It's very important to talk about it. We don't want to talk about it. Very important to have a healthy communicative relationships, I think. Sexual and desire, the same way, right? Because in sexuality, we really open up. We are vulnerable to the other. And this is like taking out the more truth about ourselves, a lot of like beliefs also, right, from our ancestral information comes through this sexuality. And I see it also through what Matias is talking about, the alchemy and the power of the feminine and the alchemy of the serpent, you know, how they just demonize something that is our true power. So to observe that is very important, because if we want to start completing ourselves and bringing this awareness, we need to start with our own sexuality, to recognize, to make peace on whatever information, you know, we might have, to feel like to go through that deep and dark parts of ourselves with these subjects that are hard to see, right? Death and mortality, or also something that is invisible, forbidden, or occult. So the secrets we keep are the anchors that prevent us from evolution. When we speak them, we really set our spirit free. Transgenerational patterns, this is what I was talking about, the family tree. These are some subjects or questions that you can questions or like that you can look at, and probably you feel like they resonate with you, and you can start working with your tree. I believe that all this type of work, you cannot separate your tree from your evolutionary path. You must observe your tree. Some questions that raise here with these energies are like, what losses in my family system were never fully mourned, named, or released? What family secrets, taboos are hidden in stories that I carried emotionally, or this residue in the lineage? And you don't carry this because you were, I don't know, you had bad luck. Everybody carry the part that they can manage. I always say this in my practices. It's like, if you have this and you probably see that your siblings are not even near on the things that you need to observe and live, or the things that you went through, why you? Because you have the tools, the spiritual tools, emotional tools, awareness to heal the tree. Because you are part of the tree, and the tree wants to be also healed. What resentment, anger, shame, or guilt was never expressed in your family? Where can be a loyal, probably ancestral pain that is refusing to let go, right? Like what it was unforgivable in your family, or something that was taking this enjoyment of life, like some stories, deep stories that our grandparents or great grandparents experienced, right? Like war and like abuse and so many stories that live through us in a different way, repeats itself, and just give a light to that, observe it, honor that they experienced that, because as they were trying to subconsciously, obviously, not consciously, help the tree. And the only way to transcend something is when you also experience it. You need to experience it to integrate it and transform it. So here, when we recognize everything that happened to them, that made you probably suffer because they were not the best parents or family that you ever had. When you understand that you need to honor them because they are also like you, trying to heal and evolve in a way. Honor your lineage, where they live, but also recognizing that you don't need to carry this emotionally. When you make peace with them, you make peace with yourself, but this is a work of, of a process of lifetime. I just put this because I thought, talking about ancestors and family, I really like this because first of all, it was like this kid in front of the grandma, and all this system actually speaks about the cycle. This is how we complete this emotional cycle. We receive conflict, tension, something that hurt us, something we perceive. Then we go through process of internalizing the conflict. If you want to keep moving on, right? You go through a process of understanding, feeling again, observing. Then with that, you can start managing. You can start finding the way of managing that, the feelings, communicating it, etc. Then is the part where you release and let go. So you eliminate the things that is not useful for you anymore. So you let go of the hurt, but also return and grow. And the cycle start again. So it's not something that you will do once and it disappear. It's a cycle. So it comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes. But every time is another step, and you will observe that your conflicts, your challenges are not experienced the same way. Every time that you work on something, the next time is going to be less painful. It's going to be more comprehension. You feel more in peace. You comprehend more. And it's a beautiful work. I really love what I do with people. I really love to see the transformation in their lives and their hearts when they go through this process. So some of the practices here, there is so many ways that you can access to therapy, coaching, or practices. You can look it up. But the important thing here is to start taking consciousness of your taboo. What is the things that you cannot talk about? What has been hidden and never was named? Something that you never told anyone, but you can find a ways of speak about it, so it start coming out of you. And once you hear it, even if you can, I don't know, it just came to my mind, you don't want to talk to someone, you can record yourself, say what you feel, and then listen it again. It releases something in you. This practice is your body is telling you that you're taking this out so it can be going through this cycle of transformation. Shadow release, what I'm still holding. Practice also recognizing what is the emotions that you're retaining. If it's something that you retain that you think that is hurting the other people, but actually you need to recognize that it's hurting you. What you hold is like this poison that you take and you expect the other to die. Control versus trust. This was me. I put this picture because it was me. When do I confuse control with safety? Is the story with my son. When I think that I'm a responsible mother, if I let him go, what if an accident happens? I'm going to be responsible. I don't want anything to happen to him, and all these things. And it's hard to let go, but to recognize that the more you control, the more you don't want something to happen, you're actually telling the universe that fear is where you put the energy. It means that the energy will show, and the more you don't want it to happen, it will happen. So I put consciousness on that, and I'm like, no, I don't want to put energy on something that I don't want, because this is what how the energy works. It's not going to judge it if it's good or bad. It's just understand energy. If you don't want something to happen and you're all the time thinking about that, this is what you're attracting to your life. So this is very important. What I name with consciousness no longer controls me from the shadow. So speak up with any ways you can. There is many ways, right? Like I said, if some people don't feel comfortable to go into a therapy or to coach, just find a way to write it down, record yourself, do something that you make this energy unstuck. So in this last part, I always like to finish with a little closing and alignment and with gratefulness. So I will invite you to connect with your own self, thanking this moment and this information with the Scorpio energies, with the Excretory System that is living with you in order for you to release. And I say, I release what has already fulfilled its function. Take a big breath with consciousness. I honor what I live and allow transformation to become regeneration. I put from now on the intention to let go the things that are not useful for me anymore. I honor the path of my ancestors, my own path. For everything that I experienced, good or bad, everything was useful. Everything went into this compost, into this soil. Now this soil is rich of nutrients, rich of worms, a black soil that I can hand, I can touch, I can smell, and I can put it in the ground with the seed of the intention of my own self being this person that put together all these parts, broken parts. But with that, honoring all these broken parts, this seed is putting together a beautiful, beautiful tree, beautiful plant, beautiful flower. And this flower is blooming. Open up for the bees to come and exchange information from everything that I experience. I give it to the world, I give it to others as example of transformation, regeneration, and resurrection to the light. With that, I close this part, thanking you for your presence, for being this soil, black soil full of nutrients, for being brave to bring up all this darkness to the light. Thank you.